students. So for today's video, we will be learning, we will continue our learning on the types of adjustments in deferral for the account title supplies. So on May 8th, Wedding R.S. purchased supplies for the amount of 18,000. Still on hand is 15,000. Adjustment will be for the month end May 31, 2009. So the same process from the prepaid rent and the prepaid insurance, you are to create or to enter your journal entry. Okay, your journal entry for May 8. So for the journal entry in May 8 is purchase a supply, meaning nag-purchase ka ng supply, so may supply na pumunta sa company mo. So it is the debit. So pumasok si supply sa company mo. So anong lumabas sa company mo? It is the money that you paid for the supplies you've bought. So the credit is the cash in the amount of 18,000. Then your explanation is to record the purchase supplies. Okay, as you notice, bakit directly nalaman natin na cash ang payment for the purchase of supplies? It is because in the problem, it is not stated that it is on account. It is directly stated that the amount purchased is 18,000. So we will be assuming that the company had paid in cash and not for accounts payable. So that is the journal entry for this problem. Now let us analyze on what will be the amount that you will put on your adjusting entry. Okay, so for the adjusting entry, or for the amount that you will be putting on your adjusting entry, so it says that you bought an 18,000 supplies. An 18,000 supplies, and then still on hand is 15,000. So as you remember, in your prepaid rent and prepaid insurances, ang inilalagay nating amount to the adjusting entry is yung na-expire na or yung nagamit na. So the same with supplies, ang ilalagay mong amount is yung nagamit. So as you notice, this 15,000 is still on hand. So, ang hahanapin mong amount para ilalagay mo sa adjusting entry is the 18,000 minus the still on hand. So, this will be 3,000. So, the 3,000 is the used supplies. Diba? Nagamit na supplies. Or, shall I say, na-expire kung sa prepaid rent and prepaid insurance pa tayo. So, this 3,000 will be the amount in the adjusting entry. Now, what will be your adjusting entry? The same with prepaid insurance and prepaid rent. So, as you notice, andito si supplies. And then, ang ilalagay mong amount is yung na-use na supplies. So, meaning, the supplies on the debit side will be put on the credit side para may ma-minus na amount. Okay. Diba, when a debit account is put on the credit account, may deduction na ng yayari. Right? So, this is the supplies. And then the same with the prepaid rent and the prepaid insurance. Ang iyong ilalagay for the the debit side, is the expense account or the supplies expense in the amount of 3,000. So, ang ilalagay mong amount is yung nagamit or yung na-expire. So, let us move on the normal balances of each account. Diba ang normal balances ng supplies, because it is an asset account, is on the debit side. Now, as you can see, this is on the debit side. And then, an account for supplies is on the credit side in the amount of 3,000, which is the used supplies. This is the 3,000. Now, ang makukuha mo is the 15,000, which is the still on hand. Bakit si still on hand ang dapat na makuha mo when you deducted the journal entry and the adjusting entry? Because itong still on hand for the supplies, ito dapat ang makikita mo to your worksheet. Yung adjusted trial balance mo na. Dapat ito yung marireflect, yung the still on hand. Or ibabalik natin sa prepaid rent and the prepaid insurance, yung mga unexpired portion ang dapat na mabilin sa iyong account. Okay? Kasi, ang ilalagay mo naman talaga sa adjusting entry, sa pabalik-balik na akong gagawin na istorya, is the used or the expired portion. And then, you will write your explanation to record the used supplies. Okay, so that is the adjusting entry for the deferral supplies. We will now proceed to the depreciation expense. We'll now talk about the depreciation expense, which is in connection with your property, plant, and equipments that are your non-current assets. So, ito yung mga adjustments kapag nagde-depreciate or bumababa ang value ng mga property, plant, and equipment na na-acquire ng company. Okay, suppose that Wedding R.Us estimated that the vehicle which was bought on May 4 with an amount of 420,000 will last for 7 years with a salvage value of 84,000 pesos. Okay. So, the journal entry, so balik-balik lang yung process natin, no, para para alam natin kung paano natin kukunin yung adjusting entry. Okay. For the journal entry, so this will be the entry for acquiring the vehicle, which is on May 4. You acquired the vehicle, the company had acquired the vehicle in the amount of 420,000. So when you acquire a vehicle, may papasok na vehicle or the property, plant, and equipment na vehicle sa iyong company. And then when you acquire a vehicle, so you are paying it in cash. So why are we assuming that it was paid in cash? Because none of the sentence had stated na on account siya. So sinabi directly na ang amount nito is 420,000. So let us assume that the company had paid the acquiring of the vehicle in cash. Okay, so kapag may binili ka, the company, pag may binili yung company na vehicle, so the company had owned that vehicle. So magiging debit, papasok sa company yung vehicle in terms of asset, papasok siya, debit side siya. And then in terms of asset, pag bibili ka ng vehicle in cash, maglalabas ka ng cash to buy that vehicle. So in terms of asset, pag lalabas ang asset, magiging credit siya. On the credit side siya. In the amount of 420 pesos. And then, the explanation is to record the acquired vehicle. Okay. So, that is the explanation. So, before we proceed to the adjusting entry, you are now to analyze or to compute for the amount to be put on your adjusting entry. Okay. For this depreciation expense, may formula na given. This is the straight line method. So, erase muna natin ito, no, kasi masyadong mataas yung formula for the straight line method for you to be able to get the amount para sa adjusting entry mo, para sa depreciation. Okay. The formula for this straight line method, this is the straight line method. Okay. For the straight line method, ang kanyang formula is asset cost and then less estimated salvage value, and then ang makukuha mo niyan is the depreciable cost, and then the depreciable cost, you will divided it by the estimated useful life, and then from that is you will get the depreciation expense for each time period. Okay, malalaman nyo lang yan yung process pag nag-solve na tayo. Okay, and then multiply by kung magkano yung amount. Okay, and then this will be the depreciation expense to be recorded. Umuulan na naman. Okay. So, this is the straight line method. So, we will start with the asset cost. So, in the problem, the amount of the vehicle is 420,000. Okay. 420,000 will be the asset cost. Now, the salvage value or the estimated salvage value is stated in the problem, okay, with a salvage value of 84,000. So, that is the salvage value. So, 420,000 less 84,000, it will be 336,000. Okay. Next is divided by estimated useful life. The useful life of the vehicle is 7 years. Okay. 7 years ano. But as you notice, ang ating adjusting entry is for the month end May 31, 2009. So, the same yung mga month end natin, no? Or the same yung target ng adjusting entry natin. It is always for the month end May 31, 2009. Dahil lahat ng problem na ito are nanggaling sa prepaid rent up to the end of the topic for the type of adjustments is all of those, ang target niya is the May 31, 2009. So, as you notice, month ang kanyang target, hindi year. So, you will have to multiply the 7 years to 12 months. Okay? And then, ang makukuha mo is the 84 months. Right? So, 7 years comprises of the 84 months. So, for that, you will divide it by the 336,000 to the 84 months. And you will get 4,000. So, this 4,000 is the depreciation expense for each time period. So, kada month, made-depreciate ng or bababa ang value ng iyong vehicle to 4,000. So, for that, sinasabi dito na May 4 mo nabili at May 31 ang target ng adjusting entry mo, meaning you will multiply it to 1 month. So, multiply to 1 month. So, less, and then divided, and then multiply to 1 month. So, 4,000. Meaning, for the May 4 to May 31, ang binabang value or the depreciation expense ng iyong vehicle is 4,000 pesos. So, this is the process on getting the amount for the depreciation expense. Okay? So, now we will proceed to the adjusting entry for the depreciation expense. Okay, class. So, this is the adjusting entry for your depreciation expense. Class, remember this. For the depreciation expense, hindi siya the same from your prepaid rent and prepaid insurance as well as your supplies na binabaliktad natin yung account na nanggaling sa journal entry to the adjusting. So, meaning yung nakadebit sa journal entry is magiging credit to the adjusting entry. Diba? Yun yung nangyari for the prepaid rent and the prepaid insurance and as well as the supplies. So, here in the depreciation expense is exact ang kaniyang entry, or shall I say, ito talaga yung entry when you are to adjust the depreciation expense of a property, plant, and equipment. So, you will memorize this. Depreciation expense on the debit side, hindi na to ma-change. Kapag nagre-record ka ng adjusting entries for the depreciation expense, ito talaga yung entry mo for the adjusting. And then, you will put the type of property, plant, and equipment na nag-depreciate, which is the vehicle. And then, your credit side will be accumulated depreciation for the vehicle. Okay. Bakit natin nilalagay yung specifically kung anong property, plant, and equipment ang nag-depreciate or bumaba yung value? It is because, oh my God, it is because marami ang property, plant, and equipment ng isang company. So, you need to specifically put what type of property, plant, and equipment ang nag-depreciate or bumaba yung value. So, the amount that you will put is yung amount na nakuha mo when you are computing the straight line method. So, for the 4,000 pesos. Then, the explanation is to record the depreciation expense for the month of May. Okay. In here, you are to specifically also state what months or anong period yung cover ng amount na ito. Diba? It is the depreciation for the month of May. Ang pagbaba ng value ng iyong vehicle for the month of May in the amount of 4,000. So that is your adjusting entry on deferral depreciation expense. So we will now proceed to the last deferral, the last deferral adjusting, that is the unearned revenue.